last night around 9:30, I decided to whip up a loaf of sourdough because my starter was ready and I just had the urge. However, as soon as it came time to add the flour, I was too lazy to even go to the garage and get my bread flour, and the all-purpose flour was on the counter already. So this is a loaf of sourdough made with my basic recipe, but all-purpose flour instead of bread flour. I still did add a little bit of whole wheat flour to it like I normally do. So I'm gonna go ahead and shape up this loaf. And believe it or not, I've never made a basic sourdough loaf with chocolate chip inclusions. And I feel like when using all-purpose flour, it creates kind of like a softer, fluffier, airier sort of a texture. It's not quite as chewy because it doesn't have as much protein in it. And so I feel like mixing that with chocolate chips is just like gonna be the perfect combo. So we're gonna go ahead and shape some bread, add some chocolate chip, and let's get started. It's currently 7 a.m., so my bread's been proofing for about 9.5 hours on the counter. I'm just gonna leave this covered up to relax and do its bench rest, and then we'll come back and we'll do our final shaping. Our dough is done doing its bench rest, so we're gonna go ahead and do our final shaping, and we're gonna make it a batard. I always let my toddler decide the final shape when she's around, if she wants an oval or a circle, and today we got oval. And I honestly still really wanna make that croissant loaf, but you can imagine if I've been too lazy to even go to the garage to grab the bread flour that's literally just outside that door, do you really think that I have the energy and wherewithal to grate up frozen butter and stretch and flat? That's just been overwhelming me, the idea of it. Honestly, that's where I'm at in postpartum. The idea of grating frozen butter to add to a loaf of sourdough is enough to make me crash out. So, chocolate chips are what we can manage. I feel like as I'm looking at this dough, I don't really see a lot of chocolate chips or even feel them through the dough here. Whereas on the outside, there are a ton very close to the surface. I'm honestly just gonna add a few more in right now, because if you're gonna add chocolate to your bread, you want chocolate in your bread, right? So now I'm gonna let this sit on the counter for probably like 30 minutes or so, just because I feel like, to me, it feels like it needs a little bit longer. And then I'm gonna pop it into the fridge and let it do a cold proof and bake it either later this afternoon or tomorrow, depending on the energy levels and what I have time and capacity for. But I'm very excited to see how this works out in the end with the all-purpose flour and chocolate chips. I think it's just gonna be delicious.